Getting breaking news that Abhay, Chautala and Lalit Bhanot are out of the Indian Olympic Association. Outgoing disbanded President Chautala and outgoing disbanded Secretary General Lalit Bhanot are effectively and technically now out of the Indian Olympic Association. IOA top officials confirmed to Headlines today that once the amendments were ratified today and a fresh electoral college formed, the tainted and charge-sheeted officials ceased to be members of the IOA. Shumon is now joining us with more details on the proceedings that are happening at the moment. The elections were on for the Vice President and also a crucial meeting took place this morning. Also joining us in the studio is Mr. BVP Rao. He's the convener of Clean Sports India. Let me first go across to Shumon and get the latest update. Shumon, both Lalit Bhanot and Abhay Chautala did not vote as well. Was it under duress and pressure? Because apparently the IOC did give them a go-ahead.
Well, as Headlines today has broken this story first, that Lalit Bhanot and Abhay Singh Chautala, in fact, if they are not allowed to vote, or rather they recuse themselves from voting, casting their vote, then their membership of IOA will also stand cancelled, because technically from here on they cannot be executive members. They also loses their primary membership as well, because this is now a fresh electorate. All the members of the IOA are now going to be elected. It is fresh, so no more members from the earlier body. In fact, in Abhay Singh Chautala's place and Lalit Bhanot's place, there are other members who voted. So clearly from here on, technically and in all practical purpose, they are no longer members of IOA. Having said that, as we speak, the election is still going on, and many of the federations have not been allowed to cast their vote on technical reasons. The reasons are very small. They could have allowed them to vote, but once they got the understanding that these federations are not going to vote our candidates, then they have been barred from voting. Football Federation, for example, I interviewed Football Federation's treasurer. In midway during the interview, IOA outgoing Vice President Narendra Batra intervenes and says that he has been disqualified because of technical reasons. So the bickerings, inner fights, infighting within the IOA is still going on. Apart from the Football Federation, there are other federations as well as golf and billiards. These are the two other federations who have not been allowed to vote. So clearly there could be many issues. Also, very importantly, Ramachandran's role, because his case is against him in Delhi High Court. This is going to come up on February 21st. If court actually gives him a kind of a rebuttal, and also the fine, if there is any charge sheet or charge frame against him, then what happens? Then IOC will be forced to ban India and IOA.
All right, Shumon, hold your thought over there. Let me put a question to Mr. BVP Rao joining us here in the studio. Mr. Rao, first of all, the question of Lalit Bhanot and Abhay Chautala. Do you see the fact that they did not vote today as the first and significant step in Mission IOA cleanup?
No, from our point of view, it's a very important and a very historic day that the big guns like Kalmadi and Abhay Chautala and Bhanot, these kind of people who rule the roost of Indian Olympic Association are out technically and forever, we hope. And in that way, it is a big moral boost and to the sporting community.
Absolutely.
And it is a step forward for our effort to make this movement forward, and so that in future the people, still their own people are kind of filled with this assembly, but in the years to come it will be easier, and we keep continuing to put the pressure on to continue the rest of the reforms.
All right. But the elections today were in fact marred by some sort of controversy. In fact, the AIFF officials were not allowed to vote today since their names did not figure in the list. Shumon Ray spoke with the treasurer of AIFF, but while he was speaking to Shumon, he was interrupted by Narendra Batra, the outgoing vice president. Let's listen into that fighting that was captured on camera by Shumon.
Our entry was genuine. and our names have been registered. Only thing, there was a change of name because Mr. Kushal Das, the General Secretary, who has not been keeping well since 20th of December, his name was deleted and my name was suggested 5 days ago.
But that information reached
Yes, it has reached and then they wanted a signature of both the President and Secretary to be on the original paper, which was not.
Priya?
Football did not send the documents properly. The documents, the names were to be signed by President and Secretary General. They did not do it. If they don't work properly, we cannot be held responsible. They should understand to work properly in their own office.
Shubham, I'm coming back to you. How difficult was it to incorporate the names of AIFF officials? After all, they said that they sent the changed or the revised list 5 days ago.
I'll answer this.
Well, Kushal Das, who is the Secretary General of AIFF, is not well. That is a fact because he is hospitalized and battling a serious disease. As we speak, even Praful Patel, according to AIFF, they tried to contact him, but he was very busy. So technically, those signatures were required, as IOA is saying. But having said that, when a nod has come from the AIFF that they can actually, because these are big members, these are not just ordinary members. Treasurer's post is a third, and automatically, if the President and Secretary is not available, the third person is the Treasurer and the General Secretary, and also the two other officials were also of top officials of AIFF. So clearly, the IOA shouldn't have any problem in admitting there because these are genuine members. They have the official letterhead in which they wanted the replacement. So it was not difficult. But once they understood that they are going to vote against their candidate, they made it sure that they cannot vote at all.
Mr. Rao, was it justified for the IOA to bar AIFF from voting today?
No, you see, they are allowing, they have allowed several others. Actually, electoral college should not be changed. But if they are disallowed, they should others also be disallowed. They allowed in archery. Archery, one person is changed to the other person. In another federation also they change. I think it's all also, you can see how Narendra Batra is, as if he is the chief election commissioner of this election, he is intervening. Basically, this entire process of reforms and was being held in his related hotel in Lalit, and everything is controlled by Mr. Batra and some group of people there. Basically, I think they must have felt football is not voting for that vice president candidate they wanted, so they were removed. Why they are so, if they are so technically correct, in fact this entire meeting is a bit illegal because their own constitution says that the majority of this special general body meeting should be from the Olympic sports.
Right.
Now, I can assure you, after debarring football, fencing and two other federations, 4 federations, there definitely the Olympic sports are minority in this AGM. So that itself is wrong. And thirdly, Mr. Bhanot and Chautala and Batra and these people have collected all the nominations of several people, and what they did was they filled in vice president and joint secretary and according to the adjusting their groups, and rest are thrown in the dustbin, and we have complained, and some members in that house, John Kersing, has complained about it. But these judges who are appointed as election commission are also not noted. So if they are so technically correct, they should have done everything correct. But they are kind of using technicality to suit their own game. But all these irregularities will definitely will be challenged in courts of law, as some of the cases are pending already. But in spite of our pressure for 1 year, these people are doing the way they want to do it.
Well, absolutely. But as you earlier mentioned that this is at least the first step, that we are seeing some of the people who were tainted, Lalit Bhanot, Abhay Chautala, at least not being able to vote today out of the IOA. Certainly a ray of hope there for cleaning up Indian sports, and very crucial elections there, because this will allow India or the IOA to go back into the folds of the Olympics. Very crucial because our athletes are playing without the Indian tricolour at Sochi. Many thanks, Mr. Rao and Shubham, for joining us with those details.